This is Paul.
Yeah,
I'm going to email you today.
yeah,
hmm And I emailed the city of Chicago
yeah.
and the city of New York.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems that no one wants to enforce the civil rights of American citizens.
Yeah,
Hmm. Now, I'm going to want those rights enforced today.
yeah,
hmm And I'm going to want custody of my sons.
yes,
And I'm going to want you to invalidate
yes,
the dissolution of marriage. Whew. Now, I think I have a real lawsuit in this
yes.
because I paid the sheriff's department to serve my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And she tried to do the switcheroony.
Yeah,
And you denied or approved, it doesn't matter.
yeah,
It was against the law to motion the court
yes,
for default dissolution of marriage when I responded within the 90 days.
yeah,
Now, um, I'm going to want you to enforce my civil rights today. Yes. Then there's the idea that you're going to obstruct me from suing you.
yeah.
Hmm. Not a very good idea.
Right now.
I'm going to want to do that.
Yes,
And I'm going to want to sue the city of Chicago
yes.
and the city of New York. Now, for all of you that are involved in those city councils or the aldermen,
Yeah,
I thought for sure you had an obligation
yes,
to make sure that you never misprision felony.
yeah,
You do not aid and abet
yes,
in the fabrication of any false evidence right now. And then for all of you in the employment of the city of Chicago
yes,
and the city of New York, you'll just get me your unions. Pooch. Now, I went through the unions,
yes, you did.
and I thought for sure that their pensions
Yeah,
were something that I was going to use because they don't know how to invest their money. Now, let's say that you decided to invest in what I had available for you. I'm going to help myself to all the assets of the unions. So you'll get me every investment. Now, for all those union workers and the Teamsters, I just want you to understand.
yes,
I'm going to help you manage your money.
yes,
Because from what I'm seeing in the silliest laws of the United States,
yes,
some chickens
yes,
have decided that we're not going to school. Now, last night I made a few phone calls
yes,
and I recorded them. And it seemed to me that somebody
yes.
was deciding that we weren't going to school because of the coronavirus. Now, looking at it,
Yes,
I'd like to do some business today. And I'd like to use the courts of the United States,
yes,
and I'd like to live with my family. Now, there seemed to be some reluctance
yes,
in the enforcement of the civil rights of American citizens. They had these big walks in the city of Chicago,
yes,
and I thought New York
yes,
had participated in the civil rights movement of the 1960s. Now, I know that you said, well, if he has a problem, he can motion the court.
yes,
And I thought for sure that we never enforce any actual court order
yeah,
that violates the due process of those that are named as litigants. Now, due process is where you serve the other party.
yeah,
It's the legal requirement that the state must respect.
yeah,
That would be the state of Washington,
yeah,
and then the full faith and credit of the state of Illinois and the state of New York. And it's all the legal rights that are owed to a person.
yeah,
Now, due process balances the power of the law of the land. I told you about that.
yeah,
Protects the person from it.
yeah,
When a government harms a person without following the exact course of the law,
yes,
this constitutes a due process violation which offends the rule of law. Now, somebody's been offensive, haven't you?
yes,
Where I emailed the aldermen of Chicago,
yeah,
regardless of their minority status.
yes,
I emailed them regardless of their gender or their sexual identity.
yes,
And I informed them that you issued a protection order
yes,
where the petitioner didn't sign it, right? Where it says on the actual protection order, I did not get notice and opportunity to be heard. And then you served me in the Squim Public Library, and the individual was not law enforcement. Right now. Right now. And then when I got it,
yes.
I looked at it, and it looks like there's forgeries on it.
Oh,
Numerous fraudulent statements, as in you said that I received actual notice of the court hearing,
yes,
and that you did or did not have proof of service at least 5 judicial days before the court hearing. Now, this idea of due process seems to escape the minds of those in the judiciary. So you'll get me every judge in the state of Illinois, yes, and every judge in the state of New York. And then you'll get me all the appellate judges, yes. Now, let's say you're a judge, and there's fraudulent statements, yes, of the respondent having notice and opportunity to be heard, right? And you said, well, that doesn't matter. Yes, he has to do a mental health evaluation. But there was fraudulent statements in 2011. Yeah, I didn't get notice and opportunity to be heard. Yes. Then you renewed it. Yes, while I was on trial. Yes, for the false accusation of violating it. Yes, you did. And there was no prosecutable offense on July 6th of 2012. Now, we seem to have this idea that just because you're a judge, right, you can violate all the laws of the United States. But due process is a legal requirement. Yeah. That the state of Washington, yeah, the state of Illinois, the state of New York must respect. Now, when I start thinking about how to sue and why I'm suing and whom I'm suing, yes, I start thinking of all kinds of lawsuits that are available to me, yes, because of your intentional obstructions of justice. Now, why don't we call the aldermen of the city of Chicago and ask them, did you get an email? And then let's call the city council of New York City, yes, because I emailed all of them. Oh, now, somebody's been misprisioning felony, yeah, and I'm wanting you to enforce the laws today, yes. And now I'm wanting to sue the whole city of New York and the whole city of Chicago. Now, I'm going to need to use the courts of the United States to accomplish what I want to do. Yes. And if you can enable me to use those courts, yes, I'd like to do that.